Hello and welcome to your first episode of 2017 and episode number 8 of Indie Tuesdays on the NCR Network. I am your host, Ben Dupay, and today, me and the guys talk a little bit about AD After Death, 7 to Eternity, and just a little bit about Romulus, not much, because, honestly, there wasn't much to talk about there, but before we get to that, I do want to let you know we are having an iTunes review contest for the month of January. So all you have to do to be entered into an awesome prize is just give us an iTunes review. And that's it. That's all you got to do. So what is this awesome prize? You might be asking. You're like, what's this prize, Ben? What is it? Well, it's two things, actually. The first thing is one of Indiecomic Ninja's t-shirts. And if you want to see pictures of these prizes, you can either go on the Indiecomic Ninja Facebook page or the Nerd Church Radio Facebook page, which my podcast is Nerd Church Radio. We talk DC Comics. You can go on either of our Facebook pages to check that out. The second prize is a Joker-Batman combination Funko Pop figure. And let's just say you want to double your chances at winning these awesome things. Well, all you have to do is give this podcast a review, then jump on over to Nerd Church Radio and give them a review on the iTunes store as well. And that's it. Such an easy way to win awesome swag. So other than that, if you want to reach me specifically, I am at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com or by checking out the website for NCR where we do written reviews at nerdchurchradio.com. And now I'm going to send you off to the show. Have a great day, everyone. The skit he did for Walking Dead?
No.
Who? The what?
Dave Chappelle did a
on
skit.
SNL?
Yeah, on SNL, but it was a
like
Walking
Negan.
where he was Negan.
It's all his old characters.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like the crackhead.
It's so good.
We always joke that like that crackhead character, that's how I act with like the review copies of our books. I'm like, y'all get them comic books yet?
Oh, scratching your neck. Oh,
Yeah.
Red Balls gives you wings.
Yeah. That's kind of how we do it. So welcome to Indie Tuesdays, episode number 8, right?
I think so.
Episode number 8, I believe. Yeah,
Getting in there.
Yeah,
Almost
we're
double digits.
I can't believe we've been doing this for 8 weeks now. It doesn't seem like that long.
No.
I'm just trying to verify that before I commit to it. Yeah, episode 8. Cool. So yeah, how was y'all's week this week?
Good, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad the holidays are starting to wind down a little bit. And
Are you depressed? You got to go back to work tomorrow, Mondo.
no, not yet. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
You're like, I'm clinging on to
got one
every
more
last
day.
moment.
Oh,
Do you have to work
yeah.
tomorrow, Ben?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
do.
mean to bring
Trying
that
to
up.
pull me down with you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I do, man. It's the worst.
Bastard.
Yep. And I have vacation time starting over.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm going to start using it very soon. So
Dude, start
yeah.
plotting that course now, man.
Don't use it all too fast.
That's kind of my problem is I'm
Yeah.
always like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to wait till as long as I can. And then March gets here and I'm like, I'm out of vacation time. I used it all already. So yeah.
I'm putting in for next Christmas already to have that week off again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I need
it's so
to.
key. Something to look forward
that's
to.
nice, yeah.
And then if I happen to need it before that, it's like it's just sitting there in the bank just waiting for me to just burn it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm Ben Dupay. I'm your host.
Oh, and I'm Ramondo Burnside.
And
Dexter 5000.
Dexter 5000. I like
bloop,
Dexter 5000.
Dexter 5000. All
Yeah,
right.
and the master of the gaming industry is Ramondo's nickname
Oh,
for
God,
today.
I wish I was the master. I think I am my own mind, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what's your username on
Dirty
game?
Dimes.
I'm the Smasher.
Nice.
Yeah.
People always get the idea wrong as to why it's Dirty Dimes. It's
Yeah,
a
but
basketball term.
I keep meaning to ask you that. Why is it Dirty Dimes?
Because dimes are assists, and I love playing basketball. I still would play, full court with my buddies here
cool,
and there. So
cool.
I like to drop dimes on people, but they're dirty. around the back, no looks, through your legs.
Yeah.
See, and you're like, I know what it means.
That's still disturbing.
Like it. I do. I like it.
Yeah, there's a whole other meaning I think people will go after when they hear it. But
yeah, I was kind of wondering. I was like, you know, that's
It's always funny when you call like a company like MediaCom or someplace, and then they're like, "Oh, your email address," and then the guy starts laughing, like literally laughing on the phone with you, and it's like, "Yep, get it out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept my email address from middle school, and that's no. I'm just kidding. Are you gonna change like your Twitter handles and stuff to Glitch Therapy whenever you move?
Yeah.
You are okay. Cool. Yeah, that's what I
Why
did
not?
with mine. Yeah. Now I don't have any personal accounts, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
You know how that feels, Dexter.
I actually, I
make
keep it
another.
separate. I have a personal account and an indiecomic ninja account.
Oh, yeah, I do too, but I can't log in and out of different things now. It's
right.
like,
Twitter and Instagram both, like you can just toggle it. It's really nice.
I'll probably do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to go into the settings. It's kind of in the advanced settings, but it's nice.
oh, okay, cool.
But it's only for the phone. So, but then if you're on like your desktop, you can just have it save your different passwords, and that's easy too.
Yeah.
But no, I keep a personal account just because like I don't want the weirdies seeing pictures of my kid.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
just
true.
for Mondo.
That's,
But now that I know about your screen name, I don't know.
yeah, no longer weird. So
It's only for Xbox and PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
on Twitter we're fine.
Otherwise, we're good on social media, I guess.
Andrew is not with us today. He had more important things to do, I guess, than to read comic books. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
He
what
said something about Christmas
are.
with his family.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
people
Sounds like
being
a load of BS
sick.
to me, but you know, whatever.
What is this family you speak of?
Yeah.
We're
Where
your
are
family
they?
now.
How was your holiday?
Good,
Dex?
good. I got a bunch of Amazon gift cards and then comic book store gift cards, and so I actually went to Amazon and bought this. I brought it in to show, not to anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
But I got the Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender volume. I got both volumes that
That's
are
a
his whole run, and the second one's just as thick.
It's a hefty book.
Yeah, but
legit.
it's Remender his full run of X-Force,
Oh, cool.
which he did with Opeña, which I brought in because we're reading Seven to Eternity.
Nice.
So it's the same creative team, but this is the book that got me into comics. Like
Same
back in-
creative team. Wow, can I see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
really quick?
It's nice.
That's cool. Yeah, because the artwork, man.
Yeah.
Same
Wow,
as,
and you can kind of tell
Seven
that.
to Eternity.
Yeah, you can tell that it's the same style of artwork. It's
And that's
it's
from
different, but
yeah, well, that's from 2011. I would hope he's changed a little bit. I guess. You know,
well, and
over
also
time.
Seven to Eternity. That's more of like a stylized. That's
Yeah.
just a totally different. I would think any artist would draw this in a different way than he would draw
Right.
Seven to Eternity.
X-Force.
So,
So, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so it was a good week for comics, though. I feel like I don't know how do
Fantastic,
you
yeah.
guys feel about it?
Yeah,
Good,
dude.
good.
That's all I did was read comics over the week and play games and try to get my backlog cleared up. And I did a good job of that. Too,
Yeah,
so,
you got it cleared
I
out.
juggled everything: family, video games, comic books.
He's
I
doing
did
it
it
all,
all,
man.
man.
Well, you have
Man.
the whole week off.
Yeah,
Nice.
The stars line on every once in a while, and you get some shit done. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So this week we are covering 3 books. We're covering Seven to Eternity, number 4.
Yep.
Yeah, number 7 to Eternity, number 4. 80 After Death, number 2, and Romulus, number 3. Did everyone read all 3 of these?
I skimmed Romulus.
Yeah, I read it. It
was a
yeah.
quick read.
Well, yeah,
the
it was.
panels were really like just not
Simple.
a lot of dialogue. It was really simple.
Yeah.
Simple
Very,
layout.
very surface level book on that one.
Yeah, not
so
too much going on there.
yeah, well, I guess we can talk about the long one first because that's probably going to take us the most time. 80 After
sure.
Death. So that's 80 After Death, number 2 by Scott Snyder, art by Jeff Lemire. Just overall thoughts. What did you guys think about this book?
I feel like it brought up more questions.
Yeah,
It did. It gave us some answers, though.
Yeah, it did. Like a little bit more about his history and what his job was beforehand.
Uh-huh.
We now know that it's a cure for death that they figured out, and they live in like a utopia up in the
in the
mountains.
mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's a person that has the cure. That was the original source for the cure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, I mean, like, I don't know. I really like the fact that they kind of explored his adult life a little bit more in this
Yeah.
book.
Well, and it explains a lot more about how he's operating like after death.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just really cool learning about. So, one thing that kind of confused me was the whole concept on how they steal like things
Using the dark web?
Yeah, using the
Yeah.
dark web.
They don't really go into too much detail about exactly how they pull that off.
I think, like, I imagined it kind of like how in Ocean's 11, like, they do get their hands dirty for, like, that's the main heist. But then, like, when they're building up to the heist, like, you know, they're in back alleys paying people off, bribing people, using blackmail to get, like, people on the inside to work for them.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's kind of what it is. Like, so he gets onto the dark web, whatever that means.
The dark net.
Yeah. And
that term always makes me laugh. I don't know.
but and
I'm on
so
the dark net.
and so then, well, basically there are people there called the head of the table who are brokering deal. Basically, they bring up an idea like, "Hey, I want to get this or that," and so then there are other people who have bread in the game, is what it's called. When basically they're just kind of there to theorize and not really do anything, and then people who have stake in the game. And that's what this guy usually is doing, is having stake. And so what it sounds like to me is he's kind of like he's the go-between.
Right.
So somebody has the idea, shows up, asks for the, ideas, and then he's the guy that actually goes out and bribes people. Mm-hmm. And so, but it sounds like he's maybe using the dark web, but I imagine he's probably, making phone calls and stuff. But
the proverbial middleman.
Yeah, but so he's the guy that basically just brokers the deals and gets people to do what they need to do in order to get the object into the other person's hands. But he never actually has to leave because, like, he's smart about it, and he just gets, he gets the security guard to do it, kind of thing, or hires the guy to go steal, bribe the security guard and go steal whatever it is. But,
right.
And so he's just doing all of this thievery from behind a computer, which is kind of, and like he just lives in like a condo.
Yeah.
Somewhere
and he's like, stealing really isn't as glamorous as you think it is. I mean, really, it's just like any other day job that you do.
But he still kind of gets that high from it because he's, got to wait and make sure things
that he's
worked
doing
out.
Something wrong. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's almost like, I guess, thievery from a video game perspective.
And what did you think about this whole like thing with him stealing things? I mean, were you a fan of that, or?
I liked that it was like a job for him.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of like that his early childhood kleptomania that we learned about in the first book kind of built into that. Mm-hmm. I find that interesting, and then that's the reason why he even was able to join this utopia where they have the cure for death, like because he did a job for some rich guy who was building this.
Yeah,
Aaron. What was his name?
Aaron. Yeah.
He was the guy he was talking to over the quote unquote dark web or dark net. Over and over again, he started to kind of open up to over time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They almost became friends just because he was doing these jobs so often that the guy would start to ask him questions every now and again. Like, so, tell me something about yourself or, whatever. And he would keep things somewhat vague, but he would tell intimate things about himself. Yeah,
I think he would tell that guy things like that he wouldn't tell a normal person necessarily because it's kind of like that when you give someone a bad review on a Google or whatever, like it's people hide behind their keyboards a lot.
Yeah, the ambiguity of it all.
They say something that they wouldn't say to someone's face. Right. But, since I'm never going to see you, I'm more comfortable telling you. I may as well
spill the beans to you because who are you going to tell?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Even if you do tell someone, it's not going to be someone I know. So whatever. Yeah, I kind of hate that about the 20. How people. Oh yeah. I mean, like if I'm going to say something about anyone, it's going to be something I could say to their face, or even if it's something bad. So but I thought that was interesting, like how that kind of came about. One part that was my favorite part about this book was the whole thing where he went the land of milk and honey, and the painting and the angry Russian guy
just standing there.
That was one part where like it had me on edge when like I turned the page and saw him. I was like, oh dang, he's like standing right behind him.
It was bound to happen though. I mean, he's been doing this for years. There's going to be someone's going to catch you at some point. Yeah. The question is, how's it going to play out? How's it going to go down?
Yeah. Well, and like that was his first major theft. Which, so I guess to recap more, in the first book, like he and his family would go hang out in these fancy houses when the owners weren't there.
Him and his mom specifically, right?
Yeah. And so then after she died, he would keep doing it, and then over time he hired like an art student. So he 3D printed this painting that was in their like favorite house that they would go sit in, and then he got an art student to like perfect it to make it look like the original. And then he just popped in, was going to swap it out for the original, and then while he's there, the Russian who owns the house shows up. And the weird thing about it, like he must have known that they did that or something, and like.
Well, he had been stealing small things prior to that, and he started building up just a big thing. He would take like little trinkets off of like his shelves and stuff, or something out of his bathroom, and just little stuff that he thought was cool.
Yeah.
And so more than likely, he started noticing that. I mean, you would assume. And then right when he's like swapping out, he literally has the real one that he wants to steal on the floor, and he's hanging the duplicate up, which looks like he's probably taking it down. And the Russian catches him, and he's like, just get out, leave it, take what you have in your hand and get out. Yeah. Assuming that he hadn't swapped it yet, but he had.
Yeah, and that was like a really clever way to steal something, I thought. Like, he actually went through enough work to like duplicate it. And
George Clooney would be proud.
I know, it was great, man. I loved it.
Ocean's 13 or whatever.
Yeah, really, really cool. And,
I think I read that scene wrong, because I thought the Russian told him to take the real one, but no.
That's what I thought initially.
The Russian told him to leave the real one, but he just didn't realize which one was fake and which one was real. Yeah. So
I thought the same thing initially that Dex thought, and then I was like, I read it again. I'm like, okay, nope. He thinks that he hasn't taken it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this thing with like kind of this country singer's jacket. Mm-hmm. And it was a jacket that I guess this is his next mark or whatever, right? Yep. And like it's like a jacket that was custom made by the country singer's wife or whatever, and that kind of comes into play later. And then we kind of move on to my favorite part of the book, kind of the meat of the book to me, which is like the here and now. And this is where he's like listening on his radio for people down in this like area, which we learned is like. It's like an area that's been basically poisoned or whatever.
Been bombed to hell and just everything that you can imagine, war type stuff that's happened, death, everything.
So what's the deal with this area? Do you know? Or
I don't know. I didn't read into it enough, I guess, to get that part.
Okay.
Maybe I read it too fast.
Oh, okay.
But like, because so that's the area that his job is to watch and to keep listening to, and in the first one, it started off with him down there, and he was getting attacked by the goofy amoeba monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they listening to it for survivors if they don't want to go after the survivors?
I was going to say the exact same thing just now.
Well, it seems like nobody believes him that he's even hurt anybody, and so I kind of wonder if it's...
I don't think he hurt anyone either, personally.
Yeah?
But...
You think he's just hallucinating?
Well, you see him doze off, and then you see him hear something.
Yeah.
So you see him like doze off, and then you see him.
Well, he has several of those kind of moments, those dreamy kind of moments where he's in and out of lucidness, and he's like, you know what I mean? Where you kind of get it blurs a little bit when you're reading it if he's awake or if he's dreaming about something.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to wonder too how like this whole, the cure for death, how it's affecting them mentally, because it says that they only remember a lifetime's worth of memories. So they only remember about 80 years-ish.
Okay, cool.
And then it resets kind of.
Yeah, or at least the memories fade. Like part of that's for that conversation with the lady that he replaced at this base.
Mm-hmm. Inez?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He has a conversation, like a video conversation with her. And then like later on he's having a conversation with that guy. I can't think of his name, but the rich guy. And when he's talking to him... Arendt, there we go. And when he's talking to Arendt, he makes an offhanded remark about how they both write things down, and that's how they remember everything.
Right.
And so they're just both really good at keeping a journal. So I kind of wonder if, this book is supposed to be this guy's journal that we're reading.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, I think it is, actually. Well, it seems like... Yeah. I mean, whether that's, like, intentional or not, I mean, that's kind of what it seems like.
Yeah, so. But then just with the whole fact that memories fade like that, I kind of just wonder how much... what other things it's doing to the mind kind of thing.
They also made a remark, too, that gives you the indication that possibly you can choose which ones you keep. That's what I gathered.
I think what they meant by you choose which memories to keep is
the writing down part.
Down.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Like you just don't record what you don't want to remember.
Right, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
What have you guys noticed? This is a minor thing, but have you noticed there's two moons or
what was that?
What's the deal with that?
I don't know.
Are we on Tatooine now, or
it makes you wonder, like maybe if they're somewhere else or something?
Well, maybe it's just the art style, and that's the moon and the sun.
No, that's not Earth. And then what's this one where he's looking up at this giant glass?
Yeah.
Like, you're right on it. What is that?
That's the building. So this is. It doesn't.
That's
say,
a building.
It doesn't say very well, but like it goes. It's back to the current time. and so it looks like a goofy like tiny town, like tiny city or tiny town, I guess.
Small town in the mountains.
And then there's just like this giant like 1,000,000-story building, and I think that's just the building that Errant, like his office is in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then on the inside there's the huge tree. And
have you guys seen the movie Arrival?
not yet.
No, we talked about that.
You told me it was
good.
good.
I want to see it, but it's
Okay.
not in the theater anymore, I don't think.
It very much reminds me of this book.
Really?
In
Okay.
terms of like in that movie, and I won't spoil it for you guys, and don't spoil it for yourselves because it's worth it.
I heard
But
there's a good twist.
There is a good twist, but it's
Weird
it's-
aliens. I don't know, I haven't
it's
seen
not the like big reveal. It's not a hard like Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
M.
twist.
Night Shyamalan type
Yeah,
deal.
no, it's not. It's
Make you mad.
and it's more of an ambiguous twist where it's like I still don't fully understand that, but I
Yeah.
didn't see it coming,
Right.
and it's like this is kind of that same. There's a lot of parts to this book that I don't fully understand.
I think the 2 moon thing. Sorry, I just decided to.
No,
cut you
go
off.
for it, man.
Your face.
But
I don't know.
so
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off.
but I'm gonna cut you off. No, okay. So the whole circle thing that looks like 2 moons, like they're in this panel and they're in this panel, but I'm imagining he's looking across the street and they're not mirrored quite correctly. But then also when they're inside the building, there are some hovering behind the lady. There's
Like little orbs.
and then there's 2 more in the background when he leaves, like in the different direction. And then later on when he goes back to his little stash of stolen goods, there's 2 just kind of floating in the back of the garage, or 3 floating in the back of the garage. And then I think that there is the actual moon, which is painted completely differently.
So what the
Yeah.
hell are they then?
Well, no, that looks like a light bulb on the next panel up.
Right there?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
maybe.
then
I don't know.
That's the moon.
No, that one's outside.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
the door.
It's like the door, yeah.
And so I'm kind of wondering if they're kind of like recording devices maybe that follow people around. I don't know. I mean, something like that. Because that lady had
Kind of like in Motor Crush where the thing pops out and it's like floating around, only it doesn't talk.
maybe
Yeah,
it's
like
oh,
a
yeah,
floating
yeah.
droid or
It's like-
whatever.
Like I just
Yeah.
kind of wonder if it's something like that. More, I mean,
I just want it
what
to be like
makes
Star Wars.
yeah.
Everything comes back to Star Wars.
And what
Yeah.
makes me think that though is just the fact that this lady has 3 of them floating behind her, and
Right.
she's the receptionist at Aaron's company.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's just what that. But then, like, why are they floating up in the sky? Like maybe they're there to record. I don't know. But it just kind of that makes me wonder. They serve some sort of purpose. at least.
I think he's doing a good job of sneaking things in there
Yeah.
on you, and then as like kind of like with your movie Arrival and some of the other stuff we've been talking about. I think it's gonna just be a moment at some point, maybe like book 4, 5, whatever.
No,
We're
this
gonna-
is a
think it's just
3-part
a-
book.
It's only a 3
It's a
part. Oh,
trilogy, yeah.
excuse me. Okay, and then next book. Then I would assume they're gonna wrap that up.
I hope so.
Yeah, but I don't
But-
think they're going to answer all your questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, and to be honest,
I
like
want them
maybe
to,
those
though.
are just there to make it feel futury.
Honestly, though, man, I mean, like,
So it could be nothing or it could be everything.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, it could be some
Maybe that's the
hidden
cure.
thing. It could be. No, the cure is coursing through the veins
in
of
the
that
water.
but it's come from that
Yeah,
person.
lady.
Yeah, that lady.
But maybe
Yeah.
they turn it into radiation.
Now, was that the lady that? Now, okay, kind of to go back a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
He has the dream, and he wakes up, and he sees the vision of that person hooked up to the machine. That's like
Which is
being
what the cover
drained.
is. Which
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were talking about last time.
Right. And so they're drained, and then there's a scene where they're attached to all the tubes, and then there's a scene where they're not, and they're laying in bed next to him, and he's looking at him, and he's like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about
Well,
that.
but the thing. Okay, so the thing is after he stole the suit, that the country singer's suit for Errant, because
Right.
okay, it turns out he stole it for Errant,
Right.
which I think we established. So then Errant comes to his place of work because he sells homes. He's he's like a salesman for a contractor.
Yeah.
And so then at the end of that conversation, he says like, okay, so like, what do you want me to steal for you now? Like, cause he said like, I came here to talk to you in person because I have something for you to steal. And he says like, so what is it? He's like, no, not what is it? It's who is it? So the next thing for him to steal is actually a kidnapping.
Right.
And so that's what he's sorry about because he goes to the lady to apologize for kidnapping her.
Ah, yeah.
And then,
okay.
and she's like, and is it Elizabeth in BioShock?
Yeah.
So like, I kind of
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's
I
probably,
Bioshock Infinite. Yeah.
yeah.
But in this sequence,
Nice callback.
In this sequence, is that what you're talking about right here?
Yeah, that's the one. Where he's
so
laying in
he's
bed
he's dreaming right there, and then he wakes up and she's gone.
Right,
So it's
yep.
just visions that he's having.
Yeah,
of
but
like,
still, it's kind of like it kind of sat with me for a minute. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like what's that all about? Like, who?
I think he
is
feels.
that?
I think he feels guilty for kidnapping her and using her for the cure, because now she's just nothing. She's just hooked up to the the machines.
So then
I missed that little part right there. The connection between like the woman from when his past, when he takes her, with the whole thing when he wants him to take the person, that being her. I missed that little connection. So
then
perfect.
The next thing to talk about, really, I guess, would be his conversation with Arendt in the quote unquote present. Because he's talking about how he wants to go down. He's heard voices and he wants to go down and investigate it, and he wants to take her with him. And all he says is her. I don't think it's very. When he said that, I was just like, "Who's her?" Like at first, I thought it was like, is it the receptionist? Like, does he know? Like, did they? Because he made a reference to how like, how Jessica doesn't remember him, and that was the receptionist's name.
Yep.
And then he said like, I'm going to take her with me, like later in the conversation, and he's just like, no, you're not. Like you're going to have some issues if you do, kind of thing. And then later, Arendt goes back to his place, looks at the cow, and says something to the cow. Don't look at me that way.
It could be a trap. It could be awful down there.
Yeah.
I'll wait another cycle, one more, and then I'll go.
Yeah, and then the last few pages is Arendt going down into some facility where the lady was hooked up and finding the empty bed
and the cow.
And
he's like, so it begins.
Yeah.
It's like, I have a feeling the next issue is going to be a little bit more action-packed. I hope. I mean,
I'm wondering what the whole point of leaving the cow there was. Like, if there were some sensors and he needed to leave something living so that the sensors didn't trigger, or the cow was just a joke.
I think it was more just like an FU to that guy.
Stake in the game. I wonder if it's a reference to that.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
I left your steak.
Because when he first made the reference, because it was before he explained the whole bread and steak thing, as far as the
You're making me hungry, man.
his previous job.
I haven't eaten all
not
day,
me, man. It's
Bread
Scott Snyder.
steak.
But anyway, so it was before he explained how that worked.
Did you say steak?
I said mistake. Okay, calm yourself.
Have you seen Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo?
Oh, I just finished it for you.
Yeah, okay.
I said mistake.
Okay.
Oh, you got me all excited. I'm a movie whore. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's great. No, I was hoping someone picked up on that. I forgot the back end of that.
I can smell what you're shoveling.
Yeah. I've never heard that one before.
So anyway, it was
now that I'm done.
How can you go back after that?
After his conversation with Aaron, he said like it's time to put some steak in the game, and then that went into him explaining the whole bread and steak thing, I think. And so then I was like, so he got the cow to like butcher it to have food for his journey. I'm really confused.
Right. Yeah.
But then I completely forgot it after he explained what the steak thing meant. And then leaving the cow, though, I kind of wonder if that's like a sign to Aaron to like, here's some steak, kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even think about that, but it's definitely a.
Yeah.
I can buy that. I think
if that's not what Scott Snyder meant, Scott Snyder, if you're listening, you can keep that.
Yeah, just go ahead and use that. Free trade, whatever. Were you guys the only ones that were a little or was I the only one that was a little disappointed that like this guy didn't? I love giving people gifts, I don't know. I just love the reaction that you get. And stuff.
You can't
when
wait.
you have a good gift. And I was really excited to see how these astronauts were going to act when he gave them the helmets.
Yeah, they downplayed that a lot.
I kind of liked it that he just came back. Okay, yeah. So to fill in, he stole his neighbor is an astronaut, and they were like the three guys. They went the furthest away from Earth like any humans have ever gone, and it was like a complete blackout, no connection to NASA. And they like slungshot
around the moon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the helmets were at the Smithsonian, and he got them stolen. And he was going to give them to the three guys when they met up once a year at his neighbor's house as a gift. And he was waiting till they got drunk to do it because his neighbor got quote unquote a little moral on him at times.
What, for the whole stealing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they must have like gone into his house for more beer or something and found him. And so then he gets back and they're all three just passed out wearing their helmets.
Yeah, they're just sitting
Which
there.
I thought was pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're older guys. They're retired. I guess they have the right to pass out.
I was
with
afraid
a beer in their hand.
I was afraid.
yeah, whatever. Then
I was afraid
when I get old, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid that he's gonna come back and just find his neighbor sitting there with a helmet on, and then like the other two guys didn't show up because like they died or something.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about them not
like
showing up.
They kept saying that like that they were running late. It's just like, why does he keep saying they're running late? Like, is this a metaphor for something? Like, then they're gonna be dead, and is that a metaphor for something?
Yeah. I always. There's a lot of stuff that gets left here alone, like the astronaut thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. Well, I mean, it feels like there's other things that have sort of been left, like the cow thing or whatever. And part of it is I think he'll never answer some of it, like, and some of it I think that maybe he'll connect to the ending.
It's disappointing to me to know that there's only 3 because I feel like this could be. Like, I don't want to say drug out because that makes it sound like a negative thing. I feel like it could be expanded on.
Yeah.
More, like 4 or 5 issues maybe, just to kind of dig deeper into some of this stuff.
I think that's kind of the nice thing, though, about indie specifically, because then you know that the writer is giving out the exact story that they want to get out.
Sure,
and it's not the publisher forcing anything.
Right.
So, I mean, I think I like to choose to be happy with getting what the author intended.
Sure.
It's kind of like whenever they make a sequel to like a movie that that's based on a book that never had a sequel. Mm-hmm. As long as I know that the writer of the book was involved, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. No, and I wouldn't want them to go to like a detriment to like just make more because I want more. But that's like there's so much stuff in here. Like it moves along so quickly.
Yeah,
I feel like it could
I know exactly.
You're like shit. We could get more into some of this stuff.
I agree. I do agree. Yeah,
in a good way, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and you might be setting it up to eventually do something.
Yeah,
because sometimes these shorter runs are a setup for a longer run.
And I was just talking to my wife about it too, because I mean, I was sitting on the couch and she's on the other end doing her thing and whatever, and I was like, I'm reading 3 different books, right? Because I'm looking at the books, and one's like a deep book like this, where there's a lot of hidden meaning, stuff you can read into, and then the other one was a little more action oriented, kind of in the middle. It takes you somewhere and everything, and it's engaging. And the third one was a little more really light, like super light reading, easy panels, not much dialogue, and it was done. It was like I'm getting 3 different flavors.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard
nice.
when you like. Yeah, it's hard to change gears for me sometimes. Yeah. Like I try
it was nice though.
You start reading into like too many things on the surface you want.
Yeah, I was enjoying it because I mean sometimes I like
it's hard to on Romulus.
Coach Red, what does that mean?
But I like the deep stuff sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
To expand on things.
I read in that order as well, and I kind of got that feeling too. Mm-hmm. I will say, do you guys like Coen Brothers movies at all? Like No Country for Old Men or?
They're hit or miss with me,
Fargo.
depending on what it is.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't like Fargo.
The movie was okay, but the TV show was fantastic.
The show was a lot better than the movie.
So here's kind of a parallel I'll draw between, I don't know, let's say Fargo season 2. They had UFOs just show up in that show. Mm-hmm. Why? We don't know. We never know. It was this random thing that happened. They'll never answer that question. And I think the Coen brothers are really smart in the way that like a lot of really good writers don't often need to they know that it's better not to answer some questions. It's sometimes better to let the audience decide. Right. Like what was the deal with the UFOs? Was it a metaphor for something? Or
right.
I mean stuff that like is thought provoking like that, as opposed to just Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. That's more of an instant gratification type thing where like
the other way you could talk about it for forever. You know what I mean? There's shows that have done that, and initially you're upset by it because you're like, what the hell? I want to know what happened. Like The Sopranos, like I was just saying a little bit ago, at the end, not to ruin it for anybody. I mean,
I've never actually watched that show, but you can.
Well, either way, you're like,
I don't mind.
But like at the very end, like all these years, Tony, whatever, the main guy, he's doing all his, gang stuff in the background. Sorry, guys, I'm not getting too deep into that. But at the very end of it, you can use your imagination. Yes. Oh, yes.
I thought they were singers. I really thought it was a vocal troupe.
High-pitched singers.
I thought this was like a Glee spinoff.
Oh, that would be great. So many people would be mad about that. But no, at the very end of it, like there's like 10 or 11, I think it's 10 seasons. But at the very end, he's in like a shop and they're having some food with his family. And he's always looking over his shoulder and stuff like that because, he does some dubious things, just to put it lightly. And at the very end, somebody comes into the shop, if I remember correctly, and the door opens up and he looks over his shoulder and it just cuts to black. Like, and they don't tell you what
That's
happens.
just how the show ends.
People got pissed.
Oh, no doubt.
Like and I wasn't like an avid watcher. I go over to a buddy's house once around and he'd have it on, and I'm I'd watch an episode or two. But yeah, the internet lit up like a damn Christmas tree.
Why was that?
People were
That's
mad.
the thing, though, man. Is like sometimes like. I don't know, man. Like Lost, that ending felt very like kind of cheap to me, and it's like
that show kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it did. As a whole, it did.
They had too many plot points going on.
Yeah.
Too many fingers in the pie kind of thing.
Sometimes you don't need some grandiose answer, like Walking Dead, man. Like I hope to God that the end of that show is just life goes on and they continue going on through the zombie apocalypse. We don't get any huge answers about what it is or what comes next. It's just like
it can go on
life
forever.
just keeps going on, and we're gonna end. And it's like
I would bet that show or the book or the comic even just ends with Rick's death. Because like he's like the main plot point of that whole thing. Is really it's just about Rick and Carl.
Well, yeah, I have my theory on how I think that Negan will kill Rick and then Maggie will kill Negan. That's how it will end.
You read the comics, right?
I do. Okay. Yes.
I'm not caught up on the comics, but it's funny you say that because I've been theorizing with my wife that Maggie's gonna take him out. Negan, that is.
And you're from watching the
Rick's,
show.
Yeah,
Rick's group actually starts working with Negan. But Maggie doesn't know about it yet in the comics.
Right.
But Rick does. He's the one who's allowing it to happen because Negan kind of proved himself worthy or whatever.
Right.
He kind of becomes a good guy for a little while, doesn't he?
He's an anti-hero, sort of.
Right.
He's not a good guy by any means. But
don't get me wrong. I hate Negan on the show, but I'm slowly starting to like him in a weird, like, I don't want to like you, but it's just,
everyone does, yeah.
Like, he has this way about him, like, he has these principles and stuff, and it's like, you want to hate him because he's doing these messed up things to people, and he's offing people, but he lives by a set of rules, and it's like
he's charming, too.
Very.
Yeah.
He makes you like him, even though you hate him. I hate him, and I like him.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan does very well with that actor, or with that character as well.
Perfect actor for that.
I liked him a lot in Magic City and some other shows.
Who would be better?
See, that's the thing is
Ron
like
Perlman?
Negan in the comics. Negan in the comics.
I love Ron Perlman, but 2 thumbs down on that one.
Yeah. He's a little bigger than like Negan in the comics has like a thick neck and he's super muscular.
He's a
like he looks like a PE teacher.
No, he did before. He was.
I see the pictures.
Okay, cool.
No, that's a perfect example of that's why I was laughing. It's funny.
Yeah. I mean, that was his job pre-apocalypse, and then his wife died horribly, and there's actually a short comic out about Negan's life before.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you knew that he was a PE teacher.
I didn't know he was a PE teacher, but I saw the picture of him, and he looked like somebody who would be a PE teacher.
Yeah,
so that made me laugh. So
and he's very
that makes sense.
And he looks like one
because he was.
Well, and he's very jolly in the comics too. Like he laughs a lot. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan is more like of a creepy serial killer vibe than a jolly happy-go-lucky killer,
I suppose so.
At the same time, it's a great adaptation, and I can't complain because I think it's wonderful. But what I think is going to happen is Rick has gone and trusted Negan. He's given him a house way outside of their community, said stay there. I think that Rick's going to get bit in the ass for trusting Negan. Negan's going to kill him, and then Maggie's going to kill Negan. And that's how
which is only fitting that Maggie does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I'm not sure about it in the books, but it seems like what's his name, the guy on the hilltop that runs it, the old man.
Oh yeah,
in the show.
Yeah, he doesn't last long.
I feel like he's not going to last long anyway, and they're setting up for Maggie to take over his place.
Oh yeah, she becomes a big leader.
Yeah. So they're just setting that up too. But yeah, sorry, not to go on a.
He's a total demon.
It's an Image comic book. It makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's good. Yeah, I love The Walking Dead. We gotta talk about it in these long months between that show happening.
Like
because
February something, middle of February it comes back.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on another break?
They do a mid-season break like in December. From December to like mid to late
I thought
February.
they already did. Oh, no, yeah, okay. I feel like they just had a break with the whole...
the Glenn,
A lot of shows do that, man. It's crazy.
I don't mind it, but it spreads it out a little bit more.
Exactly, yeah.
One show, speaking of indie comics, I guess this is kind of an indie comic, but do you guys watch the show iZombie at all?
I started it. It's like nothing like the comic.
Nothing like the comic, but it is. I like it.
The concept is there.
I've watched all of it. It's a fun show.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I enjoy it. It's kind of a guilty pleasure, but it's still pretty good.
I stopped watching it fairly early on because I didn't like I don't remember his name, but like the blonde haired guy, like the other zombie who kind of shows up in his intelligence.
Oh, you don't like Blaine?
As soon as he started acting like goofy and like he's gonna do stuff, I was just like, I don't really want to see where this is going.
Yeah, he's definitely
starts
very
to feel
stylish.
cliche.
So.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I stopped watching, and I liked the comic books so much that I didn't feel like I needed the show.
Oh, you like the comic books quite a bit?
Yeah, I haven't read the last like trade volume. But
I've only read the first one.
No, yeah, I've read the first 2 or 3. I think I forget how many there actually are.
Okay.
But I don't think the guy whoever wrote it, I forget his name, but he wasn't really given a chance to finish it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it might have like a decent ending, but it's not. Like I think it was supposed to be an ongoing thing.
Well, iZombie isn't really a continual story very much, or is it? Is it?
Yeah. Well, it kind of takes a while to get into it.
Okay.
The first volume feels like a little bit more like nothing specific is going on, but once you get into like the second or third one, it really starts to kind of have a cohesive story where it's not exactly like Cthulhu being called back, but like there's some like ancient monster demon god that somebody wants to summon and take over the world with.
Right. Okay. Cool. Kind of almost seems like Buffy the Vampire Slayer type.
Yeah, it has a pretty big Buffy vibe. I mean, because they're vampires.
There's vampires, werewolves, stuff
well,
like that.
It's a were-terrier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her best friend, she has a ghost for a best friend and a were-terrier as a best friend.
Oh, wow.
And then the were-terrier, his like grandpa dies, but his spirit goes into the body of a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
So you have this like cigar smoking chimpanzee who has like this like no nonsense like
That's hilarious.
old man like mentality.
I've heard good things. I've never had a chance to check it out.
It's a good comic.
So many
I like the
damn
art
shows
form.
I'm watching.
Man, yeah.
God, Westworld.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get back to that when they can bring that second season.
I still
back.
never really watched.
When you guys watch that, we need to
seen
talk
it,
about that.
I heard
I
it's
I'm not.
fantastic.
I don't know, man. I fell out about episode 6, and
Really?
I don't know. I'm not.
I need you to get back in.
Yeah.
Come back to me, Ben.
I'm like that with some shows though, man. Like Game of Thrones, I just don't like it. And it's nothing. I know it's a good show. Literally 100% of my friends disagree with me on it, but I still
disagree. But teach their own.
I can't get it, and I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's just not my bag. So I kind of felt that way about Westworld too.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of the stuff that seems like they go into like shock value, where it's just like there's nudity for the sake of nudity. It's like. I mean, that's whatever. Like,
In Game of Thrones, it's all political, though, isn't it? That's what R.R. Martin says.
I would say, at its core, it's all this political espionage and intrigue and everything and backstabbing and stuff like that, whatever. But
I know it's a wonderful show.
you don't have to defend it, man.
I've actually never
like what you
seen any of it. I saw a montage on YouTube of all the deaths, which was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've never seen the show.
That's what drew me in initially, because I didn't jump on that until like it had already been out for a couple years, and most of my friends had already read all the books, so I felt like I was way behind, and so they would talk about it at work, and I kind of put my fingers in my ears, la la la, don't ruin it for me. I'm going to watch them eventually, and I think that was the first time I watched it. He loaned me like the first 2 or 3 seasons. Like, just take them home, do it, catch up a little bit, and talk to us when you get caught up. So I'm watching the first season, and I enjoying it. I get to the end of it, and no spoilers. I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to spoil it, but the main character on the box cover gets his head lopped off.
Sean Bean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there like, okay. On the couch, I look at the box.
You should have known it was Sean Bean.
but my reaction, I was sitting there on the couch at like midnight, and I look at the box. I'm looking around like, okay, he's not dead. I'm like, he's all over the box. He's not dead. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy shit, he's actually dead. They killed the main character.
Pretty sure.
You know what I mean? It was shocking to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they had him as that character and on the cover of the box to sell it.
Yeah.
Because it's Sean Bean.
Right. But that was drew me in though. Sorry, come back to that. It's just the fact that I'd never really watched a show where they just casually offed people that were like the main characters that you typically know are going to be safe.
Yeah.
So that drew me in.
That is cool. I mean, I like Walking Dead for that same reason. I think it's a genre thing because, again, I'm not into the Knights and Thrones thing, but I am very into the horror genre.
Sure.
Right.
You know what else I'm into is the sci-fi genre. And speaking of the sci-fi genre, we're going to talk about Seven to Eternity.
We didn't give our
Oh yeah, let's hear. We got a rating system, and we are going to rate AD After Death. I will play our rating system so you know what we are talking about.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
God, I hate it when people include me on a group message with like 12 people on it, even though I do that to you guys like every other week. But
it's fine with like comic book nerds.
Yeah, it's like my family does it, and I can't get off the group. And it's I had like 15
just
messages.
Mute the conversation. Then you can go back and look at it without
really,
having your pocket shake every 5 minutes.
It's really the worst when like it's a picture of somebody's kid, and it involves like their friends, and then you start getting like texts from people you have no idea who they are.
Yeah, that is the worst.
It's just like, yes, everybody thinks this child is cute. I agree. But
so what would you
keep your baby to yourself?
What would you guys rate it 80 After Death?
Dude, it was good. It got me thinking. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it because not all the books are gonna make you like have a deeper sense of like what the hell's happening.
Right.
So I really enjoyed it. I would probably say I don't know, High Holy.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. High Holy.
Cool. Dexter?
I'm thinking High Holy to Salvation.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed like what more was pulled into it, like how much more got built onto the story. I'm excited to see the next one and see exactly where everything's going, I guess. So, I mean, the story so far is very High Holy.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Salvation by the end of it.
I give it a Salvation for what it is, man. I mean, I don't think this is something anyone could just pick up and read, but I do I do think that if you're looking for something like this, then you'll be very happy with what you get.
Yeah.
Now, if you're looking for a superhero story, it's not your thing. But if you're looking for a very introspective, kind of just deep, thought-provoking book, this is the book for you.
I would love for them to take this and make it into like a series or something like that. That would be
well. It
awesome.
already got an offer for the movie rights.
Yeah.
Like after the first book came out, they got.
I would rather
offer.
it be a series because then you could like really go out there with it. With the movie, I think unless you're gonna make it a really long movie, you really wouldn't be able to flesh out some of the undertones in this.
Wait till it ends, man, because I feel like it's gonna wrap itself up pretty nicely.
Think
and
so?
I don't know. It may be something where you're like, that ended in the perfect way. But I do think they could do a series on it too,
and expand on some of the more
like
you could always start the show off with like a flashback, kind of like Arrow, I guess. And
no, I like it.
They do a lot of flashbacks in Arrow, but I think it'd be a great series though, and you can flesh out more characters, his past, even his family stuff, and when he was a kid a bit more. I mean, all that stuff could come out a lot more.
I really hope that if they do make it into like a movie or a show, that they keep the artisticness of like the art and kind of like do something artsy with the way it's filmed. But,
I do too. I hope it's filmed well.
Yeah,
I would love to see like the guy who did Mad Max do this.
Yeah,
that would Fury Road. Like that would be.
I don't know if he would do that. He doesn't seem that kind of guy. That director. What else has he done? I guess
like nothing. Disney movies. That's it.
Oh really?
Yeah,
really?
That's all he's done. That was his first like big feature. Movie like that. Well, we are actually super over on time. Which that's good though. I'm glad we got. I mean, that's when you get a good book is when you get so much conversation out of it. But I mean, last one we spent the whole episode talking about.
As deep as that book is, I was surprised we were going to do more books on top of that one.
Yeah. So we may or may not get to Romulus, but let's definitely talk about Seven to Eternity. And I actually didn't finish this one. I was still sick, and I'm still sick today, but I'm kind of getting over it. But Seven to Eternity, I did read like. I only had like a couple pages left, and I just got cut off for time. So, who wants to kind of start us off on this one?
Yeah, I can take over.
Yeah, sure. Go for it, man.
Well, basically, it picks up with them. It picks up with them walking, sitting at a camp with the Mud King.
Sorry.
And they're kind of sitting around the fire together, and they're just kind of shooting the breeze and talking about the past and what they all have lost, and kind of comparing their horror stories with each other and whatnot.
I really like the fact that we get to know the Mozak here too.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
Exactly. So they're kind of doing that whole thing and just talking about their past and what happened to them and kind of comparing horror stories. And they come to a point where they're talking about the Mud King and how he's been in his cage for a while. And they're like, hey, we got to feed him.
2 weeks.
Yeah, he's no good to us if he dies. We kind of need him to be alive because if he dies, there's 2 million people that are attached to him.
All the people that he controls are dead
they're just going to die, and it's going to be our fault. So they bring him out. They feed him some, intestines?
Yep.
And Mud King kind of starts to poke at Adam a little bit and kind of talk trash about his dad and stuff and provoke him. And he goes to knocks his eye out?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was like, did he seriously just knock his eye out?
Yeah.
He knocks his eyeball right out of his skull. And, they stop him because, hey, you can't kill him. We need him. Don't let him provoke you and everything. And Mud King's like, I haven't even begun to,
and then he actually does try to shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
But then the lady in the white temple dress, calls the spirit back and doesn't allow him to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the most of this issue is just them kind of, dealing with all this stuff, dealing with the Mud King and things building up. It does also jump to the Mud King's son, I believe, who's been searching for him.
Which is the Piper.
Yeah, Piper.
It's established that is his son, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Yeah, which I was surprised by that. I didn't realize that was his son.
Mm-hmm.
I like that connection.
I did too.
Whenever you get into stories like this, I always wonder, so why are you helping this guy out? You are such a powerful being. You could easily take over.
Yeah.
Right.
When you can see under the Piper's mask, his skin kind of looks like
it's the same
Mud King's. Yeah. So
one thing to note: Rick Remender's Twitter account uses the Piper for his avatar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so they have a callback to that, shows him searching for his father. It even goes into the Mud King doing a little bit of his own backstory, telling him, he kind of brings up briefly and very quickly about his wife and him being a father and everything. So it kind of humanizes him a bit, even though he's the villain of the story. So that was kind of cool to see a bit of that. Him talk about his family just a little bit and how he'll do anything for his son and his son will do anything for him.
Okay, that's where you're talking. Okay, yeah.
Well, and part of that too is just to dig at Adam.
Yeah, exactly. My father, I would do this for my kid and my kid would do this for me. Your dad wouldn't even do this for your brother. And he starts kind of poking at him and he's like, you got to shut up. So that was kind of a cool exchange there.
What about this very last sequence where the page goes black and you get a bunch of text and... that's where I stopped. Okay,
so that is Adam describing a dream. The Piper just got done. He found the giant Barney on steroids guy, and extracted out of him where they're going, and so he's figuring out what's going on. So he's now on the chase,
and he killed Barney.
Yeah, which was
dick.
Yeah, but man, he went down fighting.
But then who hasn't wanted to kill Barney?
I know I did. Anyway, but yeah, so then Adam's describing a dream where his whole family is basically dying because of presumably the Piper or somebody going and killing them while he's gone. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up on the next page, and apparently he was on watch duty and he fell asleep. And they wake up to the Mud King killing Patchwork. Because earlier during that conversation, Patchwork said something about the Mud King's mom, essentially, and they figure that he must have grabbed the keys to his locks while she was attacking him, and then he escapes at night and kills Patchwork, which is super sad. Right, but I like that character.
The real question ends up being at the end that maybe you didn't get to that is that. They begin to question, okay, well, maybe he probably stole it off of Patchwork while everybody was scuffling and arguing and stuff. But the thing is, why didn't he escape?
Yeah,
why did he stay? He could have ran away. We were all asleep. He said their sentry was down.
Yeah, that
monitors things.
Yeah, he says he had the key on him, and then the temple lady says must have taken it off Patchwork when she got too close. But that's not what bothers me right now. Our sentry was asleep. The Mud King had broken free. He could have easily have escaped.
Why? So why didn't he?
And then they show him still strapped in. He's kind of sitting there with a grin on his face.
Yeah,
like he knows something. It's oh shit.
Yeah, something's gonna go wrong. Maybe it's that he's so confident that he's going to escape that, anyway, that he just wants to see all of them die before he escapes.
Or maybe he wants to do it himself. Like one by one, I'm going to take you guys out. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that.
Well, he's just such a smooth talker. He can get himself like into and out of any situation.
He is,
and I'm
man,
sure he's just confident of that at least.
I didn't get that characterization of him before this issue, and I'm glad that they gave that to us in this issue.
I mean, you just have to imagine he has to have gotten over however many million people to take his deal. Like he have to sweet talk people.
Yeah.
But the really sad thing though, I don't know if you, I guess Ramondo, if you kept reading into the like letters to the writing team here, but it starts off with I don't know, the Remender, the editor talking, and he said, but then it ends with that it'll return in March.
Oh, really?
So we have a bit of a break.
Boo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
I read that. I was like, what? Man. We have to wait till March?
Dude.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah, but oh well.
Damn.
Oh, well. Well, that's depressing. Thanks, Dexter. Although I am glad you told me, because otherwise I would have been like emailing
searching
my image
for it.
rep,
Did I miss it? Yeah.
Where I'd be like, where's 7-2 Eternity? And she'd be like, do your research, man. Just read the books. So what would you guys rate this?
I'd say solid holy.
Yeah.
It added enough to the story, but I wouldn't say it's quite there to be that other one.
Salvation.
The other one.
We're getting there, man.
The other
March, that's when he'll know our rating system. Too.
Yeah.
By heart. Yeah. How about you, Mondo?
I would say a solid holy or a low holy. It moved things along for me, and I like the back getting the back knowledge on people and what their motivations are. Yeah. Especially with the antagonist, the bad guy there. It was nice knowing that he has something, a stake in things as well, family and whatnot. Because a lot of times you get a bad guy like that, and you hate him just to hate him, but then you don't understand their motivations.
I don't know if it really gave a motivation. It just kind of said that he has a family.
Yeah.
And you could argue that his motivation was that his wife was killed by one of, I think,
the Mosaic or whatever.
Yeah, well, he specified which one of them their race, because they all seem to be different races. But
right.
But the fact that that happened after he started his reign, so it's like it's not even like that's a catalyst for why he's doing it.
And I didn't mean it in that way. I apologize, but it was kind of just nice hearing him just talk about it.
But just that he's not just like some dictator sitting on a throne.
Just some douche mage just doing his thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. I think holy for sure. Yeah. I really wasn't into this book the first time in issue 1, just because it was kind of difficult to follow. But I'm glad that we covered it on the podcast, because you guys cleared a lot of it up for me once we did start talking about it, and now I'm hooked. It
was kind of a rough thing to get started. And I think for me, I just powered through it because of the art. And the writer.
The artwork.
Art's amazing.
Never be mad at that art, man. It's such good art. So so we have a couple minutes left. We can talk about Romulus really quick. So Romulus number 3, with story by Brian Hill and art by Nelson Blake II. So Mondo, you can take this one too, because
dude, this is going to be short and sweet then.
Yeah,
because
go for it.
Because basically she's dealing with the Illuminati, and she's with what's her name? Soho.
The pop star.
Sozo.
Yeah.
She's with her, and they're basically taking her to be trained. She has too much anger in her. She's letting that cloud her better judgment when she's fighting. She wants to save Nicholas, who is like the hacker, the black guy, whatever that they need, the super smart guy, and she just needs to be trained. It's like your classic warrior moment where before they go fight the big battle, they
very
gotta go,
tropey.
Yeah, they got to go through the training and learn to not be so angry and use their talents. So that's pretty much all this issue is, and it shows that the Illuminati trying to coerce Nicholas into joining their cause.
Yeah. So, yep. And that's it, really. That's front to back pretty much what happens. I mean, shortly. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
It's not taking me anywhere, put it that way. I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's just the way that things are laid out, and if I've seen this too many times before or what. But it's not grasping me for the most part. I'm going to continue to read it though, but
it doesn't.
I don't know.
Seem super original. Like it just.
No.
I don't know. To me, it seems like a whole bunch of tropes. The artwork. I don't think it's bad artwork necessarily.
No.
I just don't think there's anything particularly special about the artwork. I don't think there's anything outstanding about it either. I mean, the panel layout is good, and anatomically everything is drawn right. Mm-hmm. It's just not.
It's just very generic.
Yeah, very generic feeling. It just feels kind of plain Jane almost a little bit.
I mean, and not to jump into a rating off the bat, but I know we're kind of running low on time and whatnot. I would probably give it for this particular thing, since it's not really going anywhere for me. I would probably say it's stuck in purgatory for me.
I would agree with you on that one as well. I mean, I read it. It took me like 3 or 4 minutes, I think. Yeah, and it was just like
flew right through it.
I felt kind of empty about it after I read it because it was just like I just don't feel like much happened, you know.
Maybe I wouldn't have felt that way if I hadn't read like AD before that.
Because you got done reading a very substantial book, and
like
then you read this. Yeah, then you read this, and you're like,
it's tough to go back down to something like that. So maybe if I had read it first, I don't know, but yeah,
it's like you ate a steak dinner one night, and then the next night you had to have the puffy Cheetos for dinner. You're like, hold on a second, man. I need some more substance here or something.
Man.
You know, please give me the hot Cheetos or something.
There's protein in the cheese.
A little more dense
in the cheese, the cheese powder, the cheese dust.
Yeah, there's protein in there. I'm sure.
Don't rub the cheese dust in your eyes.
Yeah. Do you have any comments on Romulus?
This
Dexter?
was actually I started reading this one first. I got like 2 pages in, and I was just like, I'm gonna go to bed. Yeah, I had a hard time even getting into it, and I just didn't feel like fighting it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, again, I'll keep reading it just like you will.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel very substantial to me, and it's not something I'm super interested in right now. But I'll keep trying it out. So awesome, we are right at an hour right about now. So literally, like we're just hit an hour. So if you want to reach out to me, you can do so at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com or just at nerdchurchradio.com. Dexter, where can we find you and information about Indie Comic Ninja?
Information for Indie Comic Ninja at indiecomic.ninja. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, as Indie Comic Ninja.
Awesome. Mondo?
Yeah. At Nerdy Romondo on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to play some games or just friend me on Xbox or PlayStation Network, it's Dirty Dimes.
Wonderful. Yeah. And you guys have anything else today?
Just one thing to note about Indie Comic Ninja. I usually have new episodes the first Tuesday of each month, but since this is a Tuesday show, I'm going to be moving that, and then I'll probably actually be moving it later into the month as well. Cool. There won't be one right away like there usually is for January, but it'll be just later on.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to sign us off here. I will say peace be with you.
And with you.
Yeah. Have a good week, everyone.